Hi everyone, this is Steve Krause and welcome to English 516 Online. This is a brief intro to the class. It's not a substitute for reading the materials. Be sure to look over the schedule and the syllabus and all the assignments and stuff. But I just want to introduce myself and hit a couple of highlights. I'm looking at my computer at the syllabus. You can be looking at your computer for the syllabus too, or on paper or something like that. So I'll just kind of work through some parts of this. So like I said, I'm Steve Krause. I've been teaching this class since I got here in 1998. I guess this is probably about the 12th or 14th time I've taught it. It's one of my favorite classes. And I think this is the third or fourth time I've taught it online, and I've really come to like online teaching quite a bit. I've already met many of you, I'm sure. My wife is a net Wanamaker. She teaches in the children's literature program, and I mention that only because I know that some of you are actually involved in children's literature, or you might have taken a class from her or something like that. If you look in the syllabus, you'll see that my office hours are Fridays, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's because I'm teaching two classes online this term, and quite frankly, the best way for me to meet with my students when I'm teaching online is by appointment. So I'll be there and available on that Friday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., but I'm available at other times as well. You see that there's one book that's required for the class. It's the Ann Wysocki et al. Collection, Writing New Media, Theory and Applications for Expanding the Teaching of Composition. I wrestled with whether or not I was going to use this book because it's getting a little bit on the old side. I decided to include it, but I'm also including some other things that are brand new. In fact, this is one of the reasons why, as I record this on Tuesday afternoon, I'm still not completely done with the schedule yet. I've got enough of it done to get people started in the class, but some of the readings will be changing shortly. Most of the readings that we'll be doing in the class will actually be available electronically, either through e-reserves or through just the website itself. I think that English 516 has changed over the years. As I say in the description here, it's a course about the theory and practice of computers and writing, and it also ties into pedagogy. One of the ways I would think that it's changed, and you'll probably see this in this class, is that it's less technical, less practice-oriented than it has been in the past. And I think this is for two reasons. One is because, frankly, some of the technologies that we use, things like Facebook and WordPress for blogging and Twitter and word processing and YouTube and all this other kind of stuff like that, has become so much more accessible than the technology used to be, and so much more omnipresent. I mean, many of you probably already worked with these things already, so I don't feel as compelled to explain how to actually use the tools as I once did. The other reason is because there have been other courses that have been added to the curriculum in the last few years that I think address the practice things more clearly. I teach a course in Traverse City called Teaching and Learning with Technology that is a very hands-on kind of class in terms of how to use different tools. And if you're really interested in that, you might want to take that. I know some people in this class already did. And I also teach a class called Writing for the World Wide Web, which is about making web pages with HTML and CSS and code and stuff like that. So anyways, there's a lot more theory than there is practice in this course, but there's still a mix of the both because both are still essential components. And it has something to do, broadly speaking, with the teaching of writing. Most of you are probably in the teaching of writing program. For those of you who are in the professional writing program, we can find ways of making this course work for your interests as well. I want to say a word about online responsibility, because one of the things that's really important about the online class is you have to really be aware of what you're getting yourselves into. You're probably already aware of most of the advantages of the online class. I mean, I'm able to record this on a Tuesday. You might be looking at this Wednesday night. The flexibility is really exciting and enjoyable. Plus, I'm at home, and this is just my home office, and so I don't have to go into Prairie Herald. But there's a lot of things that sometimes students forget about with online classes that I want you to make sure that you're aware of. It takes a lot of self-motivation to be able to participate well in an online class. You have to actually participate in the online class. And this is different from a face-to-face class, where in a face-to-face class you might be able to successfully participate in the class by simply paying attention, whereas in this class, if you're just at home paying attention but not actually posting to the blog and to the website, then you're not actually there, if that makes sense. It takes more time, and it takes more time because our interaction is with the written word instead of the spoken word, and it takes longer to write things and to read things. And you've got to have really good internet access and a really decent understanding of computer technology. If you don't have either one of those things, then you want to register for a face-to-face version of this class. The next face-to-face version of this class will be taught in the next winter. I don't want to chase anybody away, but you've got to understand from the get-go, you've got to have all these things, all these ducks in a row. It's basically broken up into 4 parts: participation, the book review assignment, the research project, and the final. Participation is largely going to take place on this blog right here, and what you'll see in the space where I'm around here are comments above and below this post. And if you look down, there's a place that says comments. And what you need to do to participate in the discussion is post comments. So what I'll typically do is post something about a reading or an activity, and then what you'll do to participate in the experience is to post some sort of comment about that reading and activity. It's pretty easy to get the hang of, and I think that you'll see what we're getting at as we go along. You might want to read through the sort of stuff that I have here about participation in terms of ways to read through the text, some of which are kind of complicated, and also ways of engaging with each other with your posts on the website. Also, as part of participation is I'll ask you to each keep an individual blog. And the blog serves 2 functions. One is that I'll ask you to post at least once a week to your blog about readings for that week in class. And the ideal situation will be to post to your blog before we get to those readings and the discussion on this site. But really what I'm trying to get you to do is use the blog as sort of a space to meditate over some of the things that we're reading for this term. The second reason that you'll use the blogs is to post about your research projects, and we'll talk about that in a second. But essentially I'm asking you to post your blogs twice a week, and also your blogs will be a place where you will host various small writing projects, your research project, the final, stuff like that. Actually not the final. The final won't be on the blog. The final will be with something later, something else. And there's a few other things you'll have to do for participation. The book review assignment, I have a page that describes the assignment in great detail, but basically I'll ask each of you to create a book review that you will deliver both in the form of a brief essay, a 3 to 4 page essay, and also in the form of a brief 10-minute or less video, something along these lines, perhaps with slightly better production values. We'll talk about that on the book review presentation part. And then the research project, which again is something we'll talk about in great detail on the research project part. But basically you need to find some kind of project that ties into the subject matter of the course, computers and writing, and that introduces you to the scholarship in the field. It might be an opportunity for you to put together a presentation for a conference. It might be an opportunity to begin a seed for an MA project. It might be something for you to think about in your own teaching about ways to incorporate technology. We'll have lots of discussion about that throughout the course of the term. The hardest part about the research project is that you have to kind of constantly wrestle with the idea of, I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm new to the field, with getting yourself immersed as quickly as you possibly can in the research. I know that it's difficult to do, but it's kind of the way that most of these graduate courses kind of work. And finally, there's a final. The final will be comprehensive. It'll be take-home final that I'll pass. Well, of course, it's got to be take-home because it's an online class. And I'll pass that out electronically on April 16th. One last thing that I want to mention about the schedule. If you look at the schedule, it'll typically say, for example, for week 2, which I'm looking at right now, it'll typically say begin by Monday and complete by Wednesday, and then there it has a reading from Plato's Phaedrus, Walter Ong, and Alex Reed, those 3 readings. What that means is that by the end of the day on Monday, each of you needs to begin some kind of posting about it and commenting on each of those readings. And then you need to wrap that up by Wednesday. Okay, it doesn't mean you wait until Wednesday to post something about one of those readings, because if we do that, then everything will get kind of like, lumped into the end of the term or the end of the week, or at one point in time. We won't have a dialogue with each other. We won't have a discussion. We'll just have a situation where a bunch of people will be posting at the same time. We won't be able to have any interaction. Okay, great. I hope this introduction is helpful. I'm looking forward to working with everybody. We'll be working together online. We'll have some chances to work together face-to-face. We'll play with some new technologies. We'll learn some new things. We'll read a whole bunch of stuff. It'll be great. See you online.